Welcome, everyone, to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rance alongside Tommy Krysan, TK with us, joining us today over at Tremonti's. So they'll be open on July 4th, one of the few businesses, but hey, they know that you need your meat, you need your seafood. Tremonti's is the mecca of all of that in Baton Rouge.
And they will have boiled crabs, number one, boiled crabs tomorrow on the 4th of July, and everything else that you forget to get for the party. They will be open regular hours tomorrow morning.
Nice. So go check them out right there in Baton Rouge. Of course, I'm in an undisclosed location presented by Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, and LeBear's Casino is our presenting sponsor. I had a great dinner last night at LeBear's, went to 18 Steak, was up there for a little business meeting, and awesome food. Great job over there at LeBear's. You should make 18 Steak your place to go for like special events or dinners or business meetings or anything like that. Really nice high-end restaurant at LeBear's Baton Rouge. All right, so TK, first off, I want to wish everyone a happy 4th of July. We obviously won't be on the air tomorrow. We'll be back on Friday, but happy 4th of July to everyone out there celebrating Independence Day. That's why I'm rocking my flag hat here. I'll be doing Rougarou and also visiting my family over on the river. New Roads. My brother Gus got a nice house he built over there, and so going to be over there with mom and family. Be enjoying that. Also, going to go stop by. Casey McKenzie's putting on a concert over at the Sandbar, which is technically in Oscar, Louisiana. It's basically right outside of New Roads. If you're going to False River, you're going to pass the Sandbar. They're going to have 4 days of live music. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, big stage outside, boats pulling up, going to be packed all 4 nights. Wayne Toops is playing tonight. Paris County Lions playing tomorrow night. So go by and check them out. That's over at the Sandbar. Go give them some love. What's going on in the world of sports? I know yesterday we talked a little bit, but there's obviously some stuff came out last night that's interesting. But we'll talk about the New Orleans Saints. The over under 7.5 wins. LSU's 9.5 wins. Speaking of LSU taking on USC, a lot of people have kind of procrastinated. Like, you know what? Do I want to go? Do I want to? Yeah. And as the game gets closer, more and more people are going to want to go to LSU, USC, and Vegas, right? To one of the most beautiful indoor facilities. Great rivalry, see what this season's going to be about. USC as quarterback threw for 6 touchdowns in the bowl game. Nussmeier looked fantastic with leading LSU to a win in the bowl game. What's going to give? We're going to find out, of course, the game 1. But if you haven't made your travel, go to Mr. Fun Travel. Go check out MrFunTravel.com. I'll be traveling Mr. Fun. A lot of my friends are going to be traveling Mr. Fun. It's a direct charter flight from Baton Rouge to Vegas. I mean, you can't beat it. From Baton Rouge to Vegas, direct flight, hotel, the whole 9. Give Jason a call over at Mr. Fun Travel. It's a local, guy who does a great job with just putting together travel trips from time to time with LSU, and that's the way to go. Direct flight, Tommy, no having to go through connections and all that kind of stuff. Boom, direct flight, charter flight right from Baton Rouge Airport into Vegas. Bus waiting to take you to the hotel. I mean, just right on the strip. Perfect. So, but over under 9.5 wins for LSU, 7.5 for Saints. But before we start talking about that in a little bit, and the All-Star game coming up next week in Major League Baseball, you had a statistic that just kind of shows you where this thing is. And I don't know if it's sustainable, but what's going on in college athletics?
Well, they're estimating that the NIL collectives, whatever you want to call them, nationwide, counting everybody, they're estimating it to have $1.7 billion, billion, not million, in the collective, the money that's going to be given to student athletes across the country, boys, girls, doesn't matter what sport. Even if, a soccer player gets $500, whatever. It's all, and the estimate, in my opinion, is probably low, okay? Because, it's not reportable. There's no rhyme or reason that says what you got to do or not do. And, it's just, it's a mess. It's what college sports is now. And, I mean, it's just kind of like we always say, you're going to have to embrace it because it's going to be what it is. I mean, I take LSU baseball, for instance, 35 guys on a roster. every year, 20 to 24 of them guys are going to be different every year going forward. And that's not unique to LSU. That's going to be just about every school. So it's what you're going to have to put up with if you want to, still be passionate about college sports, whatever your favorite sport is.
The collective, and here's the thing, is that none of this stuff is transparent, right? It's not mandatory you report numbers. It's not mandatory that anyone needs to know. I think that's number one, and that's something they could change. That it would help. I think it would also I think be and I think people would probably take a different approach. Now imagine, Tommy, if your school, if your market knew, let's say Ole Miss, for example, I've behind the scenes in the NIL world, we know Ole Miss football is spending millions and millions. Ole Miss football is spending 2 or 3 times more money this year than LSU. Okay. And that's known. But what exactly that number is, I don't know. I'm hearing 17 to 20 million is what they're spending. Okay. They're all in on this year's team. If all of a sudden if everybody had to report, let's say LSU spent 7 million and this school spent that and Texas A&M spent 22, we would be able to see it'd be 2 things. You'd have certain schools where their fan base and their support group would be up in arms. I can't believe we're spending that amount of money, right? Especially if you lose. That's ridiculous that I'm and they would adjust. Or you would have others that would be like, maybe even LSU, right? If LSU's fans, if LSU's boosters, if LSU's supporters saw 1 through 16 in the SEC and was able to see exactly where they were in the pecking order, because the perception and the assumption that for LSU fans is that there's Georgia, there's Alabama, and then there's LSU. So in their mind, LSU should be top 3 in the league in recruiting, top 3 in the league in NIL, portal, whatever. The reality is LSU's not top 3 in NIL, okay? And where exactly they are is probably surprisingly low. And so I think it would, maybe in LSU's case, help fundraise. It would help people to give if they saw 1 through 16 a ranking and saw that, okay, down here's 3 million, up here's 23 million, and LSU somewhere around the bottom third. I think it would help people to go, oh my God, if we want to compete in the SEC, we got to get out our checkbooks and give a lot more money than what we're doing. I think in their case, it would help. So transparency would be a good thing, because I think it would shock and awe some schools into giving, some schools into cutting back to giving, and people to fully understand where this thing is and this train is going off the track, and they don't really know. And I think putting it out there would be a good thing.
Well, it'd be a good thing, but there could be a bad side to it. Like you said, if Ole Miss spends 20 million and finishes 7th or 9th in the league, people are going to be, they might not want to give anymore. But Ronnie, you know how things from pro sports trickle down to college? How many times have we heard the New York Yankees have the highest payroll in baseball, but they can't win a World Series? And what was a handful of years ago, the Tampa Rays, with the lowest payroll in baseball, got to the World Series. So you're going to have exceptions to the rule. But I don't think the schools want it publicized. Do Vanderbilt and Missouri want to be 15th and 16th every year in NIL collectives? And then how do they get? Well, we know they are, but it's different when you know it or when you see it factually put in a transparent report. I don't think that the university presidents and athletic directors would ever be in favor of that. It's kind of like, some sales companies publish their results of their salespeople, and somebody's last, somebody's near the bottom, and somebody's near the top. It's a measuring stick, but I don't know if what you said, if all of a sudden a school feels like, man, we're 12th in the SEC, we're giving money, we better give more. I don't know if it'll work that way.
I don't think it's that way all the time, but like a school like LSU, for example, that has high expectations and has won national championships and been relevant and been a top 5, top 10 program in the country. I think going back the last 5 years, you can say LSU's a top 10 football program in the country. I think that's a fair statement. Okay. To say they're top 5, maybe. Let me dig in. I don't know. Like maybe 5th, but my point is they're top 10. Where they're not top 10 and probably never going to be is in NIL, is in fundraising, as in endowment, as in all that, right? And so, there's a direct correlation usually between all those things. LSU's always had great facilities. They've always been upgrading, thanks to Nick Saban, right? And when he started, they came here and said, we got to upgrade, and they had. And so from that perspective, LSU's kind of been top 10 in facilities and things like that for the most part. Well, yeah, facilities doesn't matter anymore. Like, it does matter, right? You can't have shitty facilities, but no kid cares. All the money they used to put into the locker room and put into all the fancy stuff and the state-of-the-art NASA sleep in your locker and all that crap, those players are like, just give me a stool, but I want the cash. Like, just give me an old school 1976, Tommy Christ saying Holy Cross stool with the wire locker around you and the padlock on the combination to get your socks out of there. Give me that. Just give me the cash. I don't care about the NASA, sleep, no weight, movement, all that. They don't want all that shit anymore. They want the cash, Tommy. So all those nice facilities that LSU upgraded for the last 25 years, that's great, but no more. Don't do that anymore. Just give them the cash. And so that's the perspective.
I agree with you 100% on that. That it's all about show me the money. The famous quote from the Jerry Maguire movie decades ago: "Show me the money." That's what these kids are about, and they all think they're worth more than they really are. But then that becomes a decision that has to get made, and I mean, it's just. And then they got the portal if they don't like what they get. I mean, it's the wild, wild west with no sheriff, no rules, no transparency.
By the way, speaking of portal, for a minute, we'll divert to baseball for a sec. You said Kucherak went into the portal, the freshman, Arizona.
He was played a handful of games, played a little shortstop.
Chandler, Arizona, suburb of Phoenix. They liked him a lot. Freshman last year. The guy came. He wasn't ready to play last year. Unfortunately, probably should have redshirted or something. Didn't. Blew a year on a handful of games. He's in the portal. Like, I just. Listen, if you are a kid coming out of high school, and I said this, I spoke at the National High School Baseball Championships in Omaha, 12 states. Just to give you an idea of the talent level in that tournament last year in the 23 draft, there were 18 players drafted that had played in that tournament and 3 first rounders. Okay. And so each year it's a tremendous amount of talent. All right. And it was a panel discussion with me, Johnny Damon, Todd Walker. Lynn Rollins was kind of moderating it, and Eckstein, not David Eckstein, who played in the big leagues, but his brother Rick, who was the coach for the 18U national team for USA this summer. And we were talking. It was about a 30, 40-minute panel discussion, and at the end, we talked. I spoke to the guys, and I told the room with their parents and everything in it. I said, with the portal and the way things are going now, be mentally prepared. Like, all of you guys in this room think you're going to go to a Division I school and you're going to start right away and you're going to hit 300 and you're going to play every game. Like, that's what you think. I said, and then Todd Walker was sitting next to me. I said, but the reality is that only about 3% of you, 4% of you, that's going to happen to. The rest of you are not going to play. You're going to not either redshirt. You're not going to do well. I said, this guy right next to me was the National Player of the Year, the National Freshman of the Year. But in the history of LSU baseball, in the last 30 years since he played, there's been less than 30 freshmen, and the number is probably more like 20, that have actually gone to LSU and started a half of the season or more as a true freshman and did well. Not like Andrew Stevenson, where he played and he hit 190 out of necessity because they didn't have a center fielder. I'm talking about like played and hit 270 or better and started every game and all that kind of stuff. It's like 20 in 30 years. I was like, so the reality is it doesn't happen. And you come and you're frustrated and then you leave, or the coach gets frustrated because now everybody's going to make a snap judgment on whether the guy can play or not. I was like, so here's the thing. Know that going in that you're going to be miserable your freshman fall. You're going to miss your girlfriend. You're going to miss your friends. You're going to be homesick. You're going to not hit and do well because it's the giant step up, especially if you're at a Power 4 school. I said, and just know that going in that it might be best to redshirt and get that extra year or whatever. And of course, I'm sure that went in one ear and out the other, and maybe only 2 or 3 people it made a difference on. But the sad truth is, Tommy, I think prep school And junior college baseball is a good way to go these days for a lot of players. Prep school is something that's going to blow up and already started to. We already know about IMG and things like that. If you go to prep school out of high school, your clock doesn't start that year. You get, so you can go play, get another year older, another slight step up in competition, another opportunity to get older, bigger, stronger, and then go, jump to somewhere. Again, coaches want those 22, 23, 24-year-old players if they can get them, because statistics prove out that those are the better players and they're more successful. The other thing is junior college, you have options to be drafted if all of a sudden you blossom each and every year in JUCO. And again, coaches rather a 20, 21-year-old JUCO transfer than a freshman who's got to grow and get bigger and stronger. And so those are opportunities and options that I think players now should start considering over necessarily going to Division I schools right out of high school and then not playing for 2 years and hating their coach and being miserable and going in the portal. And now I'm in the portal with 10 at-bats. Like a Zeb Ruddle, for example, who plays for us and is hitting over 300 as an all-star for the Rougarou in the Texas Collegiate League. He redshirted in 23. He got 13 at-bats in 24, and he goes in the portal, and now he's at Louisiana Tech. He might be better than Louisiana Tech. He might be better to go to somewhere, but he doesn't have any track record. He's got 2 years and 14 at-bats, so they want someone that went to Ball State, went to Miami of Ohio, played for 2 years, got 400 at-bats. They prefer that over an LSU transfer with 13 at-bats. That's just the fact of the matter, and so people have to start thinking differently now.
Well, and that's why major leagues have minor league baseball. They want to see what guys can do. You have to show them. And for college kids, the only way you can show somebody what you can do is to be on the field. There's only 10 guys in the lineup, okay? So there's another 15, 20 guys on the bench or in the bullpen. So you want to be on the field. So I agree with you, the Prep Academy, junior college baseball, Division II and III. Go play at Centenary. Go play at Loyola in New Orleans, Centenary and Shreveport. There's a lot of good baseball players in them two teams. Get on the field, because then somebody's going to notice you. It's kind of like the old professional baseball thing. If you're good enough, they'll find you at the trailer park in Santa Monica where they found Toe Nash. Benny Latino found him, and it didn't work out. But if you're good enough, they're going to find you, okay, no matter where you're playing, especially in the world of the internet today. 30 years ago, it might have been harder to find a guy playing at Maripar or French Settlement or something like that, but they're going to find you. But you got to be on the field. So I like your speech that you gave those kids in Omaha. Hey, go to Division II, go to Division III, go to a prep school, go to a junior college, because then you got those draft options. The key point you made is if all of a sudden you blossom and your fastball becomes 95 or you start hitting the ball, hard every time, you're going to get an opportunity, because coaches, they want to see you do it before they think you can do it. And I remember legendary coach Joe Brockhoff at Tulane. A friend of mine was playing for Joe years ago, and he was having a rough day at practice. And Joe Brockhoff approached him and said, "Man, what's going on?" He goes, "Hey, Coach, I'm a game player. I'm not a practice player." And Joe Brockhoff said, "Until I see you do it at practice, you're not going to be in the game." Okay, that's the mentality of coaches. Until they see you do it, they see. Like I had a kid tell me in travel ball years ago, he could throw a knuckleball. So, yeah, let's go to the bullpen. He threw it. I went, whoa. I said, all right, can you do that again? Can you keep doing it? And then we called it all summer long because he can do it. And he just was on the LSU Unis National Championship Division II junior college team, and he threw a knuckleball. So, I mean, once I saw that he could do it, then I was willing to let him do it in a game. But he couldn't just tell me that. Same principle. But these kids, baseball collegiately, for the high school kids, you're the ones under the most pressure because they hadn't seen you do it or seen you do it against good enough competition. That's the other thing. I know guys that were playing single A baseball and batted 650, but they didn't go against a single pitcher that could have got them out. Basically, they get themselves out. That's what it is. That's where we're at now.
The lower level division, and no disrespect to Southland Conference, but the Southland Conference could be used as a junior college for the high end player. And what I mean by that is a better entry may be go into McNeese or Nichols to play for a year or two and become a dude. And then you can jump to anywhere you want. Because if all of a sudden you go hit 310 and play every day at second base and have a good glove, you don't have to stay at Nichols. you can transfer and go to a Power Four school, and they would rather take a player from a proven Division I than a JUCO. It's less of a jump because they know if you play at Nichols, yeah, the Southland Conference, you're going to play your 30 games, but we also know you're playing LSU and all these other schools as well. So it's better than junior college by a lot going to a Southland Conference school, but at the same time, you can get on the field. If you're Zeb, for example, he goes to ULM or he goes to Southeastern. He's not redshirting. He's playing right away, and maybe he's not starting every game his freshman year, but he's starting every game his sophomore year, and then now he can come into LSU with 300 at bats under his belt. He's got 2 years of college. He's proven he's got 2 years. You know what I mean? It's a different experience.
The local example, Ronnie, is Jacob Myers, a pitcher from Santa Monica. He was a good player in high school on a good team. Santa Monica is a solid program. All of a sudden, he ends up at Nichols. He's a freshman All-American. Had unbelievable numbers as a freshman. Okay, and had pretty good numbers this year. He was their Friday guy. I saw him throw against Lamar, a game I worked for you.
Too many here, but
yeah, he had a lot of walks this year, but he was a freshman All-American. So now he's at LSU. Jay Johnson wasn't going to take him out of Santa Monica High School. But once he saw what you just said, he did it at the Division I level in the Southland against 30 Southland Conference games, and they played LSU and they played Tulane and they played other ULL. They played other people during the week. I mean, that's the example that you just made, and it fits locally with a kid who's going to be on LSU's roster next year. And how it plays out, we'll have to see.
Yeah, and the thing is that because he had such an off-the-chart great year as a national freshman year in some polls, even though he didn't have near as good a sophomore year and had some struggles at times, because he proved he can do it and he's healthy, they're going to take him because, again, every coach thinks they can fix him up.
Because if he'd went from Santa Monica High School to LSU, he was not going to be a freshman All-American. No way in hell.
Right. Right. No, it's a different way of thinking, and you got to check your ego. You have to be just honest with yourself. You have to say to yourself, okay, am I okay with going to Mississippi State or LSU or Auburn or A&M or whatever and not playing? Will I be happy if I go there and I have 3-4 years and I'm on the team and maybe I play eventually, but can you be happy there and not play because it's your dream school and everybody gets to tell their friends you go to A&M or whatever? Is that enough? Because if the answer is that's not enough, I'm not going to be happy if I'm not playing eventually, then that's maybe not the best thing to do. There's a kid that plays for the Rougarou. He started off his career. Ruiz, our first baseman, started off his career at Texas A&M. Went to Texas A&M, redshirted, and then, of course, couldn't get on the field and left and got cut the following fall and ended up at junior college. And he never belonged at A&M, but he went to high school right by the school, and he's able to know money and get on, and they had a spot, and so he's able, and everybody's excited. It's his dream school. He grew up an A&M fan. He's able to tell his friends and their family, "Hey, I signed with A&M," but he was never going to play there, and so he had to leave. Sometimes we just have to have those thoughts and decisions now, sooner rather than later. It's a wild, wild west, Tommy. There's no loyalty amongst thieves. There's no loyalty with the school to the player to the school. And again, it just feels like the snowball is heading down the mountain, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and faster and more out of control. And something's got to give eventually.
Agree with you 100%. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Yeah, obviously, you and I love the game of baseball. It's been a part of our lives forever. And a part of me, hates to see all this, but there's nothing I can do about it. So if I want to watch baseball, and I watched a lot of Major League Baseball yesterday and last night, I'm going to watch baseball. If I want to watch college baseball, I'm just going to have to embrace what it has become, nationwide.
Let me ask you this. If someone said to you, Tommy, you can sit in the purple seats at Alex Box Stadium, 5 rows behind home plate in Houston for the Pirates, no Skeens pitching, Pirates at Astros, or you can sit 5 rows behind home plate for a Friday night series, Texas A&M or, at LSU. Which would you prefer?
College baseball.
Me too. Me too.
I don't have to. I answered it before you finished the question because I knew where you were going with. I'd rather sit at Alex Box Stadium. I'd rather sit at Nichols. I'd rather sit, at Cajun Field. I'd rather sit there and watch college baseball than sit 2 rows behind home plate in a major league game. No question in my mind. Now, would I like to sit 2 rows behind home plate in a major league game? Absolutely. If that presents itself, I'm gonna do it. But if I got a choice, Friday, next April, Friday night, watch LSU, play A&M in baseball, or go watch the Astros play the Mariners, there's no question what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah. And that's, when I was in Omaha and I was talking to some of these coaches, I got to know a lot of the California staff. They ended up winning the championship for the second time in 4 years of this event. And, these are guys that we had a lot of similar friends, and they played at Long Beach State and played for Dave Snow, legendary coach who was friends with Smoke Laval. And I had friends that played at Long Beach State that I played with over the years and stuff. And so, but a couple of these guys are big major league guys, right? Of course, it's different in California. You got a lot of teams. You grow up going to games and things like that. That's different. Where we don't have a team in our state and all that. And I was talking to a buddy, and he's a big Cubs fan. I was like, you know what? I used to be a Cubs fan for like 1984 to probably about 2004, 2005. I was really into the Cubs and could tell you a lot about them and all that kind of stuff. But since then, I'm college. I told him, I said, I'd rather go to Ole Miss, Mississippi State, 2 teams that I don't have a vested interest in. I'd rather go watch Ole Miss at Mississippi State than go watch the Mets at the Braves. That's just how I am.
Well, perfect example. 6 weeks ago, you hired me to go work the Nichols Lamar game. 2 teams in the hunt for the Southland Conference Championship. I knew people involved with both programs, including Will Davis, the coach at Lamar. And I enjoyed watching that game. I had a walk-off homer, had some good plays. I enjoyed watching that baseball game between Nichols and Lamar more than I would have, like you said, the Mariners versus the Padres or something,
Right. Yeah, it's a different world. And look, and that's a credit to college baseball that it's that entertaining, and it just continues to get better because with only 20 rounds in the draft, you don't have as much.
We got a good question here from Jamie. Should the NCAA have a rule similar to the pros about contacting a coach under contract within the same conference? Well, Jamie, I don't know if you can put a rule in because there's ways to contact a coach without a direct contact. That's what happens, okay? It's like me calling Ronnie saying, hey, Ronnie, would you be interested in going to work for Fox Sports? They want to offer you a big contract, but if you're not interested, I'll let them know. And then Fox Sports can say, we never talked to Ronnie Rance. They talked to Tommy Price. So that's what happens, Jamie, on that. Now, like Jay Johnson said when asked about the Texas job, in his contract, he cannot be contacted unless Scott Woodward knows he's going to be contacted. But that means by the University of Texas or Texas A&M or whoever it might be. It doesn't mean that, Ronnie Rance from Austin, Texas can't call Tommy and say, hey, don't you know Jay Johnson? Why don't you filter this question by him? So there's ways around every rule and everything. So, Jamie, the thought, I agree with you on the thought, but I just don't see it happen.
No, the rule is in place. It's in the contract, but there's no way to prove that that happened, and in the case of like Schlossnagle, I mean, these guys are friends. They acted like, and they told the world that they had the conversation the day after the national championship game. The guy waited in the cemetery for hours and all that stuff, and then drove. BS. That deal was done a month ago. I've talked to many people behind the scenes that knew about it a month ago. At ESPN, the announcers were told not to talk about it during the College World Series. They knew about it. So it's that kind of deal. All right, TK, tell us about Tremonti's on the way out for the 4th of July.
Well, they are open for the 4th of July. They can have boiled crabs, number ones, okay, the big ones, the beautiful ones. And they got plenty of steaks and sausage and seafood. They will be open 4th of July. You need something for that. In fact, you buy a dozen hamburgers, you get half price off the second box of hamburgers. That's a deal going on all week here at Tremonti's. And, of course, their burgers will be featured Saturday night at the Rougarou game when they play host to Acadiana. Cheeseburger in Paradise, Tremonti's burgers. Everybody eats them out at the Rougarou game, loves them. And so stop by Tremonti's today. They will be open on the 4th tomorrow. They'll be open all weekend. A lot of people celebrating the 4th on the weekend. Tremonti's got everything you need.
Yeah, half price cheeseburgers, half price margaritas in a can, and all that stuff on Saturday. We'll be wearing the Hawaiian shirts and giving out lays at the gate. So stop on by. Free tickets, by the way, thanks to Red Stick Roofing. Free tickets this Saturday night. We've never done that before, giving out free tickets on a Saturday night Rougarou home game. But thanks to Red Stick Roofing, we are going to be doing that this Saturday. So no excuse not to come out. I mean, we're going to give you tickets. We're going to give you half-price cheeseburgers, the whole gambit. Going to give you all kind. Going to be playing some great throwback music and having a great time. So hope to see you. 7 o'clock is the first pitch Saturday and Sunday. We've got home games as well.
And you can watch Rougarou players in the All-Star game tonight with Seguin, Texas. Go to TexasCollegiateLeague.com. That's where you can watch all the games, but you can watch several Rougarou players in action in Louisiana versus Texas in Seguin, Texas tonight. TexasCollegiateLeague.com. And then, of course, we want to see you out at the park Saturday and Sunday for the home games.
All right, we'll be back on Friday for more Sports Shorts Daily. Until then, happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe, and we'll see you on Saturday. Have a good one, everybody.